Say hello to my brother from another mother. Welcome to the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. This is where ordinary entrepreneurs come for inspiration and education to do whatever it takes for as long as it takes until the job gets done. Look, when I made the leap from corporate America to running my own business, I had a wife, 5 kids, a mortgage, and they all wanted to eat and sleep in warm beds. I didn't have the luxury of hitting rock bottom while I found myself on my buddy's couch or in somebody's basement or going back home. Oh no. I had to put food on the table, a lot of food on the table, every single day, every week, every month. This is the no hype, cut to the chase material, ideas, and training I wish I had when I started down my entrepreneurial journey. This is one of the premier sales, marketing, and entrepreneurial programs available, and it's free. Make sure to stay up to date on everything I'm working on, along with additional content I don't have time to share on the podcast by signing up for the Weekly Whisper at weeklywhisper.com. If you're curious about where to start when it comes to taking control of your sales and marketing is just selling in print, you can get my sales agenda to use in your everyday sales life at thesalesagenda.com. Finally, get the on-demand help you need to grow your sales at 30daysalesgrowth.com. Enter the promo code podcast to save a few bucks on your order. If you have any questions on ways I might be able to help you here with my team at The Sales Whisperer, feel free to email me, Wes at thesaleswhisperer.com. That is my actual email address, and I read everything that is not stupid, spammy, or ridiculous. Now on to the show. My brother from another mother, Mark W. Schaefer. Welcome to the Sales Podcast, man. How are you?
I'm great. I got to ask you, what the heck is that patch you're wearing that has a mustache on it?
That's my Mark It Like a Man shirt, baby.
I haven't seen that before. All right.
Yeah, well, you see the Superman tattoo. It's not even a tattoo, it's a birthmark.
Well, this is gonna be one testosterone-filled podcast because there's this new little app that it analyzes your tweets, and it does a personality profile based on your tweets, and it says you are rugged.
Now, this is for you or for me?
No, it's for me, man. Come on.
Yeah, I'm getting in touch with my feminine side, so it might call me like a metrosexual.
Well, I've been called worse.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. You know, I saw your Facebook post a few weeks ago, and you said, 2 people stood you up on the same day?
Yes.
And I said, you know what? That won't happen with me, and I stand true to my word.
Never. That was never a question. I mean, I think that's just... You know, you and I have been around business for a while, and I mean, I think you be conditioned to have a certain amount of respect for people and respect for the business process at a minimum. The minimum acceptable level of a business relationship is you do what you say you're going to do.
Right.
I may not like the person, I may not want to hang out with the person, but as long as they do what they say they're going to do, I'm okay.
Yeah. Well, the only person I've stood up on my podcast is Michael Hyatt. So, you know, I got that going for me.
Michael Hyatt's blacklist at the top of the... Yeah.
He
contains
was
one person.
He was quite forgiving, but it did take like 3 months to get him scheduled again. Yeah. That was kind of painful.
Yeah. Michael, I've met Michael a couple of times. I'm sure he doesn't remember it, but I have. And... I guess a coincidence. He was the only person who stood me up. Didn't stand me up, but I couldn't get through his administrative people. I was trying to get a quote from him on building an audience for my new book, and I got quotes from Guy Kawasaki and Scott Stratton and people that I like and respect on the web. And he was the only one, his people just said, no. I said, I'm looking for a paragraph.
Right.
One paragraph. He's met me before. I live nearby in Tennessee. Couldn't get through. The message probably never even got through to him.
Well, hey, you let me know next time. I'll get him on the horn. All right.
Because you got it in. You got it in.
That's what I do. I mean, when you stand him up, he remembers you.
I'm sure that's true.
So you know what? Usually I start with, hey, why are we talking? But we'll get to that in a minute. But you brought up something that I'm living the moment right now. You're talking about do what you say you're going to do. Yeah. I got a guy, so I've got a book on Infusionsoft, that big green book back there. That thing's over 600 pages, and I update it several times a year. And fortunately, usually they're minor updates, little things here and there. But I've got some offers in there. Hey, go to this website, and I got this product and this program, and it's this price. But most of it's digital, right? Mm-hmm. So I have raised the prices of my stuff over time. I mean, it's one of the things I teach, one of the things I help people do. Mm-hmm. So this character, and I kind of forgot who he was, so he's emailing my assistant saying, hey, the price of this has gone up. Is Wes, quote, moving the goalpost? So he's from the UK. So that's the nice way of saying, is he a bait and switch lying scumbag, right?
Oh, he should have been writing you a message saying, congratulations.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want somebody thinking that I'm some meanie head. So we made a promo code just for him to get a discount. I just did this morning. And I remembered the name because my assistant emailed me, like, what do we do? So I said, I'll look into it. So I gave him a discount, a bigger discount, 75% off, because I'd raised the price 100%. And the promotion was 30% off. So I brought it all the way down, so cheaper than anybody can buy. Mm-hmm. But then I remembered we had a conversation last July. And, I had my email. You can save emails. So, and he was going to buy Infusionsoft from me. He says, hey, I'm not quite ready, but when I am, I will come to you. And I checked with my guys at Infusionsoft. I said, by the way, did this guy buy since last July? And he did.
Ooh.
From someone else.
Ooh.
So I emailed him.
Yeah.
I found the email from July, and I replied to him.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, did the goalposts move between June and November? Mm-hmm. So what do you do? I mean, how do you handle liars?
I try my best to be kind to people and be gracious to people and give them the benefit of the doubt. But look, people do take advantage of you online, and at some point you need to draw a line. I mean, I had a guy, if you could believe this, he wrote a blog post criticizing me. He criticized one of my posts, and which is, I don't really care, but it wasn't even that well written. So then he sends me a note asking me if I would promote his post that was criticizing me. And I said, well, I remember what it was like to be a blogger just starting out, and you reach out to somebody, and you think that's going to help. I said, you know what? I'll do it. Wow. I will do it, even though I don't like it. It isn't well written, and it criticizes me, just to help the guy out.
Wow.
I will do it. So I tweeted this thing out, and I probably posted it on LinkedIn.
You tweeted his post slamming you.
I did. So then, a couple weeks later, someone else wrote a post that was about me, but it was positive, and more than that, it built on the ideas that I had proposed in my original post. So I really liked it. So I posted it on Twitter and LinkedIn, and I think I also posted it on Google+. I thought it was a very, very good article. If you can imagine, the original guy comes back and said, why did you promote his post on Google Plus and you didn't promote me? and ever since then, this guy has been on the warpath. He's been like a troll, like looking for, it's like, oh my gosh, you have got to be kidding me. Mm. So it's, and so, it got to the point where I started blocking him, because I'm not going to surround myself with toxic, ungrateful people like that. I mean, I have a big heart. I try to help everybody I can. I help competitors. I help young people. I help anybody starting out, entrepreneurs, anybody who needs help. And when people start, taking advantage of you like that, I don't,
Yeah. So, I mean, is it? My dad used to always say, he still says, if they're stabbing you in the back, you got to be in the lead. So, I mean, is that it? You just,
Yeah.
like if you're taking some arrows,
You
it just means it's just the cost of doing business?
Part of it is, and I think it also shows that you're having some success establishing a voice of authority. I mean, it comes with the territory. I was coaching a young guy the other day who does not have a very thick skin, and people were criticizing him, and he was really, really hurt. And I told him this story. I said, did you realize George Washington, the father of our country, when he was elected president, he was probably the most beloved person ever to walk in the United States. When people painted his picture or made a sculpture, they put him in a toga and a robe like a Greek god. I said he was revered. He was the father of our country. Yet by 2 years into his term, he was being criticized. The press was after him. Critics were after him. He started having rivals. And I said, here is the most beloved person ever to be in the United States, and he's getting criticized. You're going to get criticized. Everyone is going to get criticized. And if you're really doing your job and you're making bold statements and you're taking a stand on things and establishing a voice of authority, you're going to get darts thrown at you. You just are. And you've got to learn that's just part of the business, and that's our online world.
So, since there's no delete button on the internet, is it best just to bite your tongue? I mean, like this guy. I mean, I'm not happy, right? I lost out on significant income.
Yeah.
And he could have come back to me because on a regular basis, Infusionsoft and other platforms I represent and other partners will throw out deals, and people will come back to me and they'll say, I hate to do this, but such and such, they got a smoking deal. It's hard to say no. Can you match it? And then I can make a decision, right? But he didn't even do that. He just went and bought.
I think what I would do is say, look, you were disappointed because you didn't get the deal on this book that I had offered. I'm going to follow through with you because that's my commitment to you, and that's how I do business. By the way, I'm pretty disappointed you didn't follow through on your side of the deal when you said you were going to, get Infusionsoft. I'm kind of making a judgment about that, but I'd like to hear your explanation before I draw a conclusion.
Yep. All right. Fair enough. Maybe I'll do that.
Or maybe you'll just hate on them.
All right. So why the heck are we talking? I mean, you got books out. You speak. I mean, what's your story? Are you a West Virginia guy? Did I read that correctly?
West by God, Virginia.
Goodness.
Actually, I grew up in Pittsburgh, and went to West Virginia University. Went to journalism school there, and then I've lived all over the country. But I kind of consider Pittsburgh my home. I like Pittsburgh sports, and that's kind of my roots, I guess you'd say.
So how'd you get so dang famous that you ended up on the Sales Podcast?
I don't know, but
the stars have aligned, huh?
If I could print this out, I'd print this out and put it on my bulletin board. The whole idea of fame is really weird. It's weird, and I just do what I do, and I try to just keep my head down and work hard and produce good work, and it's. I think in my little niche, I am somewhat famous. I mean, people come up to me and they recognize me and they want me to sign their book and stuff. And it took me a very long time to get comfortable with that because I don't like to be a person who's put up on a pedestal. I mean, my view is we're all equal in our human condition. We're all amazing in our own way. And I don't like that. But what I've learned to know is that this celebrity, it exists in the minds of other people. There's nothing I can do about that, other than just to, try to be humble and to be accessible. And, but so I just have learned to try to be gracious about it and just not get all hung up on it. But, it was something for me to learn over a couple of years because it was unexpected. and I was very uncomfortable with it. But now I need to be gracious about it.
Well, I want to get into how you arrived at that point, but I've asked people this before, and I've slowly realized it as well, because I've had people, I've got 2 books, they're self-published, so I mean, I'm not super famous at all in that regard, but people do buy it, and I have spoken at different places, and people have come up to me with their book, or that they bought, and asked me to sign it, and I too, I mean, it was very weird, still a little bit weird, but I've learned people love celebrity, right? And I mean, don't we kind of sort of have to embrace that, especially when we're running our own business? I mean, nobody else is going to toot our own horn, right?
Well, we do need to embrace it, Wes, because that's why people hire us.
Right.
I mean, if you're well known, then there's a certain amount of respect that comes with that. There's a certain dollar value that becomes associated with that. And look, I mean, there are people out there that I think are kind of famous for being famous, and
Right.
I question really, what they're really accomplishing in their careers at this point. But I mean, look, whatever you can do to feed your family, that's fine. But I think that's there is something to being well known. There's a value to that.
Right. Well, speaking of famous, just for being famous, I mean, how do you give people the advice and hold them to it, to stick to it and follow through? How do you give them what they need to hear instead of just what they want to hear and still stay in business, right? Because, I mean, that's hard a lot of times.
Well, I got some great advice from a friend of mine a couple years ago, and she said, first you have to give customers what they want, then you can give them what they need, because you have to build that relationship and you have to build that trust before you start to speak, truth to them. There was one example, Wes, where I was working with a telecom company. And I worked with them for 3 years before we did anything that had to do with social media and content marketing, even though they were really in a prime position to benefit from that. And they had a lot of other blocking and tackling things that we needed to accomplish. But I also started educating them month by month by month. And in the 3rd year, the president of the company called me up and they said, I think we're ready to talk about this social media stuff that you've been, educating us about, because I'm getting questions from our suppliers why we don't have a presence. I just got a note from somebody. I'm going to attend a conference, and to get special content from this conference, it's only accessible through LinkedIn and Twitter. I don't even have an account. What do I do?
Right.
So he said, I think we're ready to learn about this. And then, the culture of the company was ready to sponsor that. And that's
Right.
the most important thing. It's not going to stick unless you've got the culture that's ready.
So how do you juggle that, though? I mean, you're there for 3 years, and they need to get to M, N, O, and P, but they bring you on just to do A, B, and C.
Yeah.
I mean, do you just say, okay, I'll be the best deliverer of A, B, and C, and hope they eventually get there, or do you,
yeah. I think the thing that makes me different is I'm getting a little bit of feedback. I don't know if your listeners are getting that or not, but
no.
Okay. The thing that makes me different is I also have a background in organizational development. And so when I go into a consulting assignment, I take this holistic view. So even though I know theoretically what needs to be done, I have to provide a strategy that will work in the context of that organization. What's the bureaucracy? What's the politics? What's the resources? What's the strengths? What's the weaknesses? And I love these guys. I mean, my customers become my friends, and I get to know them very, very well. I hang out with them. We do things together. And these guys, they were like real tech engineering types of people. I was teaching them marketing. I was the first real marketing advisor they ever had. And so I knew I just couldn't force something on them that they didn't understand. Because if they didn't support it, it wasn't going to work. Another example, Wes, is I came into this multi-billion-dollar company in Miami. They had already fired 3 agencies because their social media program kept flopping. And after I spent some time and learned about the company, the company was run, the president and the CEO and the COO were both lawyers. So this was a very slow-moving, legalistic company. It took them 3 weeks to approve a response to a question on Facebook. So after really looking around and seeing what was going on here, they were blaming the marketing people. They were blaming the advisors. So I got these 2 people alone in a room. I closed the door and I said, "Here's the deal. The success doesn't lie with me or a budget or a strategy or these marketing people you have working for you. It's you. You 2 people have to change. Here are the 3 things you need to do, or nothing's going to work." And I said, "I don't want to embarrass you. I don't want to sit in this meeting and say it's your fault. But here's the advice you're paying me to give you, even though you may not like it." And to their credit, these are great leaders. They said, "This is what we needed to hear." And it all makes sense because now we're kind of seeing why this is failing. And they started taking baby steps because they're good leaders, because they could listen and they could see I was speaking the truth to them. And they started making the changes they needed to make. But, if I was just a marketing consultant and didn't really care about the company, my new friends, and the culture, I would just say, "Here's a strategy." And it would have failed the 3rd time.
Right.
So you've got to be able to look at not just giving people advice, but giving people advice that will work, not just gather dust on a shelf.
Well, some people listening to this might say, "Well, you were already a big guy and you could afford to lose this business if you rub them the wrong way." And they say, "Get out, we didn't hire you for this." I mean, what do you say to people? Because it seems to me, the truth is always the best thing, right? And if things don't feel right, you got to get it out on the table, because you would have been the 4th.
Well,
right?
yeah, that's right. Well, here's a lesson I learned early on in my career. I was lucky to have some really, really great bosses and great mentors in my career. And one boss told me one time, he said, "Look, if you hold back, if you feel strongly about something and you hold back, you're cheating me and you're cheating the company, because the only thing you're selling is your advice and your wisdom and your experience. And if you're not giving of that in the best way, it doesn't have to be a mean way or a harsh way or a cold way. There are ways that you can do this and be nice and be nurturing, but you have to be honest or you're cheating your customers."
Yeah.
And so I think there's an art to doing that well, but I think, Wes, that's the only thing that's going to work long time, because I want customers to say, not only did he come in and help us, he came in, he helped us, and it worked.
Right.
And you have to build in those little wins to create the momentum over time to make it work.
Right. How did you make that transition from being an employee to being on your own? You're getting paid, a salary, and then it's like, okay, I'm gonna do my own thing, and then somebody says, "Well, send me a contract." And you're like, "Oh my gosh, is this a 1-page deal? Is this a 27-page deal?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you know how to price it when you're making that transition? And I always see people, they undercharge what they're really worth.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd say that I don't know. Maybe I'm still doing that. Who knows? In fact, I am, because I'm doing. I've made some really great friends down in New Zealand, and I did some work with them last year, and I don't know if I should name the company or not, but. So I did some work with them last year. So they're inviting me back this year. And I said, "Well, here's my price for 2 days." And the guy wrote me back. He said, "Oh, wow." He said, "That is a real bargain." I thought, Bam! Got it.
Damn. Say, well, that doesn't count my 2 days of travel as well. So you got to put that on there.
But it's a huge opportunity. I'm gonna get in front of some very big brands, some very big companies while I'm down there. So I'm investing in the relationship as well.
Right.
But I was very fortunate in that when I was with Alcoa, my last job there, I was the global director of e-business for Alcoa. At that time, they were a Fortune 100 company. They've probably dropped down since then. But
well, you're not there. I'm surprised they're even in business.
oh yeah, Alcoa. Yeah. It's not the company that it used to be. Really, they've had a lot of hard times. But when Alcoa is basically a holding company. It's got 40 different companies all around the world. So I was, in essence, a consultant. And I had no mandate. No one was saying you must do digital marketing, you must do e-commerce, you must do CRM. I was responsible for all those programs at Alcoa, but I had to go in every single CMO, every single business unit president around the world and create a value proposition distinctly for them. So, I was doing consulting long before I was out on my own.
Right.
So that was really good training. And really the master's degree in applied behavioral sciences helped a lot too,
right,
to really kind of look at things in an organizational way.
Right. So I guess the lesson there is don't undervalue what your corporate America job is giving you, right?
Oh, it's huge, man. It's huge. A lot of people say, oh, I could never work for the man, But look, I had a great career, and I have no regrets whatsoever. In my corporate career, I got to meet wonderful people. I had great bosses. I got to travel all around the world. They paid for 2 master's degrees.
Wow.
I got no complaints at all.
Right.
And for me, the tipping point became where I had some personal situations. And Alcoa wanted me to move to Switzerland, and we kind of went back and forth for 6 months. Just wasn't really working out. And my kids, I had my college paid for. I had college paid for my kids, so I knew I could give them, get them off to the right start without having a lot of debt. So I thought, you know what, it's time to try something different. So everything just kind of worked out. The timing was great. And right from the beginning, my business just started taking off. So I've been very, very blessed.
Yeah, cool. So you mentioned a lot about social media, and I always say I have kind of this love-hate relationship with social media. Did people have like Yellow Pages conferences, 50 years ago?
I love that. They probably did.
I don't know. Maybe they did.
How to optimize your Yellow Page ad? Do you make it AAA plumbing or AAAAA plumbing?
Or the AAA, quadruple A plumbing. Yeah. So, like most things, they're a jack of all trades, master of none. They're wasted. This whole social media, I'm like, most people are neither social nor are they very good with marketing and media. So it's like you combining 2 or 3 things that they're not good at. So a double negative becomes a positive. So if it's social media marketing, then the third, so it makes it negative again, right? So should some just avoid it altogether and stick with their basic blocking and tackling?
Well, I'm a very practical person, a very radical person, and I'm not the type of person that says social media is for everyone or social media solves all problems. I'm a marketing guy. I'm a marketing strategy person. I happen to be well known for social media because that's what I'm interested in and that's what I write about. But like I said, I worked for that one company for 3 years and didn't do anything with social media because it's not right for them.
Right.
So I think marketing in general is getting a kind of a black eye right now because so many people are putting out a shingle, social media marketing, and they don't know anything about marketing. And I'm not overstating that. And, does it bother me? Yes. Do I dwell on it? No. I just have to stay centered, do my work. But it is a problem because people think Facebook is easy and, there's low hanging fruit there, and I don't know how to do anything else. So this is what I'm going to do. I can be trained in marketing by reading these people's blogs. And, right now, Wes, I would say I've been in marketing over 3 decades, and this is the hardest time to be in marketing ever. Ever.
Wow.
Our channels have fragmented. Our audiences have fragmented. Not only are the platforms changing, the rules of engagement are changing on a daily basis. Week by week, these channels make profound decisions that can affect a business overnight. And it's very, very difficult. It's very complicated.
Oh, yeah, we should be meerkatting right now. Hold on. Say cheese. Wait, I need another one so we can do Periscope too.
I mean, there's probably a place for that stuff. But I mean, I think your point is, it is shifting, and we have to be agile, and but you have to be grounded in the marketing fundamentals, because deep down, our expectations as consumers and buyers really haven't changed.
Right.
And we have to be grounded in that good stuff so that we can look at these platforms and look at these tactics through the right filters to know if they'll work for our business and for our clients' businesses. But it's hard to be in marketing right now. It really is.
Right. So what is that a small business owner to do, right? So, I deal a lot with corporate America salespeople or the small business, 1 to 10 employees, the realtor, the financial advisor, the chiropractor.
Sure.
They are not marketing experts.
Right.
They don't have a lot of time.
Right.
But they're tempted, right? Because their Facebook feed is blowing up and they hear somebody made $1 bazillion because they made a YouTube video. What do they do?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing is, I actually wrote a book exactly for that purpose. It's called Social Media Explained, if they're interested in doing that. And the idea behind this book, it doesn't tell you how to set up a Facebook page. It doesn't tell you how to set up a Twitter account. It literally explains the sociology and psychology behind social media so you can figure out, how does this work and does it fit for me? Mm-hmm. And it doesn't make you an expert, but it helps you ask the right questions.
Right.
If you're not a marketing expert, this isn't going to make you a marketing expert, and no book probably will. If you don't have the time, this book isn't going to get you more time, but at least it will help you figure out where this might fit for your business, and then get the help you need. Mm-hmm. This is an entirely new. It's not like advertising. This is an entirely different way of going to market. If you're jumping out of a plane for the first time, usually you're going to strap somebody to you a couple times until you get the hang of it. If you're moving into this world of social media, it is really easy to embarrass yourself or waste a lot of money and time. Hire somebody and if you use that book, Social Media Explained, you'll know the right questions to ask. You'll know what to look for. Hire somebody for a couple months, get pointed in the right direction, and then figure out, this is something I could do. I need to hire someone. I'm going to continue this engagement with a consultant. But, this is such a problem because so many businesses, this is the number one problem for small businesses. They think marketing is DIY. Mm-hmm. They don't have the budget for it. They don't have the resources for it. And look, if you don't have customers, you don't have a business. So get marketing help.
You don't need a parachute to go skydiving. Did you know that?
Maybe. Well, okay.
You just need a parachute if you want to go skydiving more than once.
Yeah. Right.
I speak the truth here. This is
supports my point.
I speak the truth.
Yeah.
A little tagline I came up with is that marketing is just selling in print. I think great salespeople can become great marketers. But I think if somebody doesn't have much sales experience, they have a tough road to hoe to become a good marketer. Would you agree?
I definitely agree. I really do. And I was in sales for 9 years, enterprise sales for 9 years before I ever got my first marketing job. And so, I mean, that was invaluable experience because, by the time I got to marketing, I knew my market. I knew my customers better than anybody, and I knew what needed to be done. I didn't have to guess.
Right.
So absolutely. I mean, there's an inexorable link between marketing and sales.
How'd you make that transition from sales to marketing? Man, in corporate America, they're like, you're a meat eater. What do you mean you're going to go into marketing? That's where the farmers and the creatives are.
Yeah. Well, I always wanted to go into marketing, and I'll tell you, I took some marketing classes when I was in college, and just kind of fell in love with it. And I had this experience. I was walking through this big facility, and the company was building a $150 million new facility to make a new product that had been created by this marketing guy. He was creating this vision and these new customers. I thought, wait a minute, you're building this new plant and it's going to employ 200 new people? That's what marketing is? I want to do that. It is the cutting edge of business. There is no more exciting role in any business that I could think of. So I always wanted to be in marketing, but my company was smart enough to say, before you go in marketing, you got to go in sales. So I was in sales for like 4 years. They wanted to promote me to this big new sales job. I said, no, I want to go into marketing. They said, nope, we need you to do this. I turned it down 3 times, and they said, nope, you need this sales job. So I ended up being in sales about 9 years, and it helped a lot. It helped, but I always wanted to get into marketing.
Right. Very cool. So you mentioned earlier, you get to know your clients, they become friends. How do you charge good money of your friends?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I am sensitive to business situations, and I think one of the things that I did well, Wes, is when I started my business, I gave it enough time to do it well. I was never in a situation where I was desperate, where I had to do something stupid to raise money. I knew I was going to be broke for 2 years. I needed to build my business the right way and charge the right amount and be humble and start small and build and build and build. And that's exactly what I did. And so, right now, I mean, I'll give speaking as an example. I mean, I started out when I was speaking, I said yes to everything because I had to learn the craft. Every time you speak, you learn something about yourself. Something goes wrong, or something is crazy with the audience, or the AV fails. You learn, and it forges you into a professional. So, I mean, 7 or 8 years ago, I was speaking at the Kiwanis Club. I was speaking at the Chamber of Commerce, all right? Then you build and build and build, and then it gets to a point you say, you know what? The next one, we're going to test it. I'm going to charge. I'm going to get my expenses paid for. Then I'm going to add something on to that. And, it never stops. You're always iterating. And you keep testing the market and see where it will go. And there's no cookie cutter answer. I mean, for example, I'm doing something next week in Wichita for a friend, all right? They couldn't afford to pay what I usually charge, but he's my friend. If you're my friend, I'm going to help you. Someone else might say, well, we can't afford to do that, but we can afford to buy books. I'm willing to look at it from, the total business benefits and not just stick to a number. But I think you just got to keep pushing the market, testing the market, just like any business.
Right. Well, I love what you said there. You keep learning, and you said it forges you into a professional.
Yeah.
It's not some glowing, flowing spa treatment, hot rock, and you just evolve beautifully into, right? I mean, it's like pushing through the birth canal, right?
Yeah.
Here it comes. And I've heard people make that analysis, that running a business, it's like having a kid, and I've watched my wife deliver 7. So, I've never done it myself, but I've watched quite a few. And my buddy described it, you're up late with your business, right? You're worried about your business. Is it going to come home in the morning, and be in good shape, And it's like, you're right. That is like,
oh yeah. I'm starting a new business right now. And I've got a great team, and we're heading in the right direction. We're making progress every day. But oh my gosh, I'm like a nervous father, because you believe in this thing and you want to see it succeed, and you'll want it to grow up.
Right.
And I think it's going to happen, but you never know for sure.
Yep. Very nice. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. Where can we send people to learn more about you? I know you've got 5 books. Did I count right? Okay.
Yeah.
And they're all on Amazon. Should they visit your website or
sure.
Amazon?
You and I have the same problem that nobody can ever spell our name.
Right.
So I could never do Schaefer.com.
Right.
People would never find me.
Yep.
So my website is Businesses Grow. I figure that would be easier for people to remember than Schaefer.
Yep.
So businessesgrow.com. You can find my blog, my podcast, my books, lots of cool resources for businesses of any size. And I'd love for your listeners to reach out and stay connected.
Very nice. So when are you coming to the West Coast? SoCal, baby.
Oh,
come on down.
I was in LA a few weeks ago. Nothing planned right now.
And just
Nothing
ain't right.
planned right now.
All right,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to have to call my uncle to call your uncle to, get you to come down.
I love that. I love I was in California. I lived in LA for 4 years in Orange County and loved it.
Well, that is not LA. So
I know it's not LA.
know that.
Yeah.
It is quite different.
Yeah.
Very nice. Mark W. Schaefer, businessesgrow.com. Thanks for coming on the Sales Podcast.
Thank you, Wes.
All right, man. Have a great day. I hope you liked this episode of the Sales Podcast. Mark Schaefer is he's one of those guys, what you see is what you get. He is just as sincere and honest and funny and self-deprecating in person as you just heard him. I think right now he's either in New Zealand or just coming back. He literally travels the world. People fly him around to listen to him. He's written many books. He practices what he preaches. So, go visit thesaleswhisperer.com / and because we can't spell our names, go ahead and just do session 129, and that will get you to his episode. But Mark Schaefer is spelled SCHAEFER, so almost as good as mine. But he's got some great advice in there. Go back and listen to his, he ended the story, or towards the end of the podcast, he talked about how he said yes to everything, right? Just to get out there and get going. And I was the same way. And as I branch into other avenues of my business, I'm a rookie or newer in those. I will take deals for either free or even for at a discount to cut my teeth, but always have an agreement. If you ever do anything for free, make sure you have an agreement in place that you can use the information as a case study, that they will provide referrals and testimonials, assuming you do great work. But, I just love how he was humble about that, talking, honestly about how he cut his teeth to make his mark. Go back and listen how, social media compares to advertising. They are very different. All right. When and if to hold back. And as he said, never hold back. Right. And I've always said, give away your best stuff for free up front. All right. People will get great advice. They'll learn. The do-it-yourselfers, the cheapos will go ahead and use your advice and do it, and that's fine. You win because they don't call you and waste your time or try to nickel and dime you. They'll also realize deep down that you were the one that helped them, and it will come around, okay? They'll refer somebody to you, whatever. I believe in karma. It does come back. But give away your best stuff for free up front, because those that don't want to do it or were just researching, they'll see how much is involved, and they won't go do it. Okay, so Mark's got great advice there. And I love how he talked about he makes his clients his friends, but he still charges them good money. A lot of things you can learn there. Show feedback and guest suggestions are always welcome. Let me know what topics you'd like me to cover and any cool guys or gals you'd like me to interview. You can hit me up at wes@thesaleswhisperer.com. And if you want some affordable, live, interactive help from me and my team twice a month, check out marketingautomationnetwork.com. Even if you don't have an email or a CRM tool running yet, there is no other place on earth where you can get direct access to my team and me to answer your questions and record the answers and give you access to those sessions. You'll get access to the entire archive of sessions going back several years. So head on over to marketingautomationnetwork.com and sign up now. Remember to subscribe to the show, write me a review in iTunes, and I will love you long time. And please tell your friends, all right? The best compliment you can give is to share your feedback with a review and telling your friends about the show. And as always, remember to sell different.